All right, so we're going to be going over the Unit 3 Lesson 8 notes. In this set of notes, we're going to be writing equations for linear lines. We've already done part of writing equations before. Now we're adding one more piece to it. Okay, so for any linear relationship, it can be expressed in the form of y equals mx plus b. We're going to use the rate of change, or the slope, for the m value. Notice that the m value is in the same place as the k used to be when we wrote the equations in y equals kx form. We're going to use the initial amount, which is also the vertical intercept, for the b value. So when we write equations, the m is going to become a number and the b is going to become a number. All right, so let's look at a few lines. We're going to call this first one line A, this first one, the next one line B. So we need to look at where that line hits the y-axis, because that's going to be our vertical intercept. So for line A, our vertical axis, notice each box is worth a half, so that's halfway between 1 and 2. So our vertical axis, our vertical intercept is going to be 1.5. So our b value in our equation is going to end up being 1.5. Remember, to find slope, we need another perfect point on the line, and then we need to count the rise over the run. So since each of these is counting by a half, we go up a half, 1, 1.5, 2. So our rise is 2, and our run would be 1. Remember, put your y value over your x value on your slope. So we get 2 over 1, which is the same thing as 2. So all we're going to do now is we're going to take our slope and we're going to take our b value and we're going to put it into the equation. So for line A, we have y equals our slope, which is 2, times x, and then our b value is a positive 1.5. All right, our vertical intercept for line B is at 0. Our slope is 2 over 1, or 2. So our equation is y equals the slope, which is 2, times x plus 0. Now we don't have to put the 0 there, since adding 0 to anything doesn't change it, but a lot of people like to put it there so that they actually see a b value there. All right, let's do these next two. So for line A, our vertical intercept is 0. Find another perfect point. Make sure you pay attention to the numbering. Each of these boxes is worth 1. So if we go up 2 boxes, that'd be 2 over 1, or 2. So for line A, we get y equals 2x plus 0. For line B, our vertical intercept is down here at negative 3. Our slope, and again, you can use any of these perfect points, it's 2 over 1. So we get y equals 2x. Now, since our b value is negative, we're going to put a negative 3 there. Do not put the plus negative 3 there, because we only need to put whatever sign the b is. So notice all of our positive numbers so far have had a plus sign to represent that they're a positive number. But whenever we have a negative b value, we're just going to put minus 3 on there. All right. Let's try these two. So line A, our vertical intercept is 1. Be careful on your slope here. So on here we go up 1 and over 3. Remember, it's y over x, or rise over run. So we rise 1 and we run 3. So our slope here is 1/3. So if y equals 1/3 x plus 1. All right, to save a little bit of time, I'm only going to do that line on that one, and I'll do line B on this last one over here. So our vertical intercept is at -4. Our slope, again, be careful here, it goes up 1 and it runs 2, so our slope is 1/2. So we get y equals 1/2 x minus 4. All right. On the back side, this first problem, it says that line A goes to the origin of 0, 0. Line H is a translation of line A, so they just slid it down, so they translated it down. They want us to select all, so that means there's probably going to be more than one answer. Select all the equations whose graph is the line H. So let's go ahead and write the equation for line H. So we need the vertical intercept, which is -5, and we need the slope, which is up 1 and over 4. So we get the equation of y equals 1/4 x minus 5. So what we're looking for in these answers is anything that has the same slope, so it has to be a positive 1/4 times x, a negative b value, and then it has to be equal to x. It's okay if it reorders it. So A is y equals 1/4 x minus 5. That's exactly what we wrote, so that's a correct answer. Y equals 1/4 x, we're okay so far, but then they put plus 5, and ours is a -5. So that one's out. For C, they have 1/4 x, so our slope is okay, minus 5, so our b value is okay, and they put it equal to y, which is exactly what we have. It's just they put the y on the other side, which is perfectly fine to do. For D, they have y equals -5 plus 1/4 x, so it's y equals, which is good so far. They have a negative b value. It's okay that they listed it first. And then it's a positive 1/4 x. So that's exactly what we have as well. All right, on E, it's -5, which is our b value, positive 1/4 x, which is our slope, and they put it equal to y. So that's the same thing as well. And on F, they have y equals, that's a positive 5, and that's a negative 1/4 x. So that's the opposite of what we have, so that is not an option. So notice we have the one equation, but it can be written multiple different ways and still be the same thing. All right, so this graph should look familiar. It's talking about Andre's bank account. So over here, I'm going to rewrite these for you because they're kind of hard to see, but they're counting by 20s over there. That's going to be important for us to remember. So when they say, what is the vertical intercept? We tested over this last week, so remember it has to be written as an ordered pair. So the vertical intercept is right here. Remember the x value is always going to be a 0, and then it hits the y-axis at 40. You should be able to tell what that means. So that means before whatever happens in this situation. So the X is talking about time in weeks, and the Y is talking about money saved. So you should be able to write a sentence about what Andre's bank account means at this point in time. So B says, what is the slope of the line? So we have 1 point. We need one other point. We have to be careful because each of these boxes on the y-axis is not worth 1. If I go from 40 to 60, that's worth 20. Then each one on the x-axis is worth 1. So there's 4 there. So for our slope, we get 20 over 4, which simplifies to 5 over 1. Remember, the x-axis is on the bottom, so that 1 represents 1 week. That 5 represents dollars saved. So we could say that Andre saves $5 each week. So now the last thing we need to do is write an equation for the line. Since we already have the vertical intercept and we already have the slope, we just have to write it in y equals mx plus b. So our m, our slope, is 5. Our b, our vertical intercept, is 40. So our equation is going to be y equals 5x plus 40. All right, I'm going to stop there. I'm not going to do the last example with you or for you, but you need to go ahead and find the vertical intercept and what it means, what's the slope and what does it mean, and write the equation for the line. This is talking about a parking garage, so how much it's going to cost to park your car. Make sure you pay attention because the x-axis is not counting by ones and neither is the y, so you really have to pay attention to your numbering.